Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Reapercast. Today I wanted to talk about a few new cards here. It's actually a new archetype. There's actually a lot of cards to go over. So with that being said, let's just get started right away because I'm sure this will turn out to be quite a long video. So right here we have a kind of interesting archetype. They call it Punk or P-U-N-K. It spells out to be punk, but it looks as if it's meant to be an abbreviation for some kind of word. I have no idea, but with that being said, this is what we'll call it for now. And it kind of has this futuristic, but at the same time, it's meant to be cyberpunk, right? I'm assuming that is meant to be the whole theme of the whole artwork, but I guess we'll have to find out. A small glimpse tells me that they're psychic types, so that is kind of reminiscent of a more futuristic kind of, theme to things. So with that being said, let's just get started. So the first one here we have is Unkyo Punk Shirakusai, a level 3 Earth Psychic type tuner effect monster with 1200 attack and 600 defense. So right off the bat I could already tell this is a synchro deck. Quite interesting, but for psychics it's not unheard of. You can only use each of the first and second effects of this card's name only once per turn. So first effect, you could pay 600 life points, fusion summon one punk fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand and or field as fusion material. Not bad, kind of reminds me of Ancient Gear Hunting Hound, so definitely very interesting there. Second effect, during your opponent's turn as a quick effect you can pay 600 life points. Immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon one punk synchro monster. This is kind of reminiscent to the original psychic deck. If you guys actually don't remember, this would have been the similar deck that was playing Thought Ruler Archfiend. It was a bit more generic at the time during the 5Ds era. However, in this case it does seem like it's meant to be focusing more towards an archetypal kind of thing. However, moving on here we have Gargagku Punk Wagon, a level 3 Earth Psychic tuner effect monster. So again, the same thing there as the previous card, however it has an attack of 900 and defense of 600. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. First effect, you could pay 600 life points, add one punk spell card from your deck to your hand. That's not bad because the first one is actually focusing on fusion summoning and this second one here is focusing on adding a spell card to your hand. Which is not bad because the two cards kind of actually serve their purpose. They're very simplistic, they don't do too much extensively on its own, but to actually supplement the deck in such a way is definitely something that is a bit nice as a sense of a toolbox kind of deck, allowing you to perform many kinds of extensions that could potentially benefit you in many kinds of ways. However, for the second effect, when a punk monster you control is targeted for an attack or by an opponent's card effect, as a quick effect you could draw one card. Again, not bad, just another further extension of an effect to actually add to the card. However, that's two tuner monsters, so I'm hoping to see something different. But moving on here, we have Joruri Pink Madam Spider, a level 3 Earth Psychic tuner effect monster, so another tuner monster, interesting. It's 900 attack and 600 defense, and the first and second effects can only be used once per turn. So first effect, you can pay 600 life points, add one punk's trap card from your deck to your hand. So this time it's a trap card, very interesting here. These are very low level monsters that just do great extensions. If it helps out the deck, then that's fantastic. Second effect, when you activate a punk card or a punk card effect that targets a card your opponent controls, as a quick effect you can target one face up monster your opponent controls. Halve its attack until the end of this turn, which is not bad. Again, as an extra gimmick, it's not bad whatsoever. So I'm actually kind of liking the simplicity of this particular deck. It's very simplistic, it's not hard to actually grasp what each of these cards do. They are also being structured into two specific effects of each card, and they require you to all pay life points. So there has to be something that's actually going to be contributing towards that actual life point paying. So let's move on to the next card here. We have No Punk Seamin, a level 3 Earth Psychic Tuner effect monster, 600 attack and defense, and the first and second effects can only be used once per turn each. So first effect, you can pay 600 life points, add 1 punk monster from your deck to your hand except itself. Definitely fantastic, this time a monster. So a lot of these different effects are just so simple to actually grasp. I mean, they don't really have too much else to them other than to just extend the deck and manage your resources, otherwise to go for a fusion summon. Second effect, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you could target 1 punk monster you control and it gains 600 attack. Not bad, but it's not particularly the greatest out there. But that was the 4th tuner in a row, so we have to see something else that's not a tuner. However, the next card we have here is called No Punk Foxy Toon, a level 8 Light Beast effect monster. This is definitely different. Firstly, this is a beast. Secondly, it's level 8, not level 3. And thirdly, it's no longer a tuner monster, so this must be your other monster out there. 2300 attack and 2600 defense, and the first and second effects can only be used once per turn. So first effect, you could tribute 1 punk monster, special summon this card from your hand. Pretty easy summoning, and considering the other monsters just have all this adding and everything like that, and considering the other monsters just have all this adding and fusion summoning, I guess after you use their effects you could actually just use this card and summon this one out here, and it's not bad as well for an attack. Second effect, you could send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon 1 level 8 or lower punk monster from your deck. And apparently it could still include this card, so pretty much you could just go for an XE summon. That's definitely very powerful. Third effect, once per turn when this card destroys a monster in battle, you gain life points equal to the original attack of that monster. That's pretty amazing. I mean, considering you're paying life points, there has to be some kind of way to make up for it, and I'm glad that this effect does so. However, moving on here, we have Ukyo Punk Carp Rising, a level 8 water fish fusion effect monster. So finally we have a fusion. Very interesting here. It's 1000 attack and 2600 defense and requires 2 punk monsters, which is pretty easy by the way. The first monster allows you to fusion summon really easily. First and second effects can only be used once per turn. First effect, you contribute this fusion summon card, special summon up to 2 level 8 or lower punk monsters with different names from your hand or deck in defense position. It's unfortunate that it's not a quick effect, but even so I guess that's not too big a deal. It still allows you to somehow balance out your resources in some kind of way. Second effect, if this card was used as a material for a synchro summon, you could target 1 punk monster you control. This turn it can attack twice during each battle phase. Okay, so not bad. Again, just giving you additional abilities to extend yourself as a boss monster potentially. Alright, so next here we have Ukyo Punk Amazing Dragon, a level 11 Wind Sea Serpent Synchro Effect monster. We kind of already saw this coming, that this would be a level 11, considering all your tuner monsters are level 3, and you only have 1 monster that's a level 8. Aside from that, your only other level 8 monster from the main deck monster is your fusion monster. So to go into this, it kind of makes sense of course. And let me just say that this particular artwork is actually quite amazing. I actually really love it. It's modern, it has that traditional kabuki vibe, but at the same time it also adds that futuristic modern vibe as well. I don't know, I mean, it has that modern vibe to it, it has this ancient vibe, but it also has this futuristic vibe. So it's kind of combining all 3 different I guess eras into one, which is something that is quite unique from every other archetype out there. So this has 3000 attack and 2800 defense, and it requires pretty much generic materials, which is nice, and the first and second effects can only be used once per turn. So first effect, if this card is synchro summoned, you could target a number of cards your opponent controls up to the number of level 3 psychic monsters with different names in your field and graveyard, return them to the hand. Not bad at all. Just allowing you to bounce based on what you have is not necessarily the worst. It is quite a bit of a setup, but either way I don't see too much of an issue. Second effect, you can target one punk monster in your graveyard except this card, special summon it. That's pretty powerful because that's not so bad because you could actually just summon out the fusion monster, in which case that fusion monster can tribute itself, summoning out your 2 materials, allowing you to potentially go for a link summon, which is quite powerful of course. So you could see here that there is definitely quite a lot of benefits to actually manipulating your different effects to balance things out and allow you to go for the best of your plays. I'm actually kind of liking this particular archetype and how it's turning out about. But of course, we now have to move on to some spell support. So we have Gaga Q, Punk Wild Picking, a continuous spell card, and the first effect can only be used once per turn. First effect, at the start of the damage step, if your Punk monster is battling an opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. Not bad, it just guarantees the destruction. Second effect, if this card in its owner's spell and trap zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, punk monsters you currently control cannot be destroyed by battle. I like that kind of duality between the 2 different effects there. One of them guarantees the destruction of your opponent's monsters, and the other one is it protects your own monsters, which is definitely fantastic. However, moving on, we have another continuous spell card here. We have Gaga Q, Pink, Crusher Beat. And the first effect can only be used once per turn. So first effect, if your opponent activates a card or a card effect that targets a punk monster in your possession, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. Second effect, if this card in its owner's spell and trap zone is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can activate this effect. For the rest of this turn, punk monsters you currently control cannot be targeted by or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. That's definitely fantastic. It seems like they all have some sort of benefit in some sort of way. But moving on here, we have Joruri Punk Dangerous Gabu, a normal trap card, and you can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn. Target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects for the rest of the turn. Then, if you control a punk monster, gain life points equal to the targeted monster's original attack. Not particularly broken, but definitely great enough to at least supplement your entire deck, extending its plays, allowing you to make up for the lost life points. And finally, we have Joruri Punk Nashiwari Surprise, a normal trap card, and you can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn. Target one face down card your opponent controls, or if you control a punk monster, you can target one face up card your opponent controls, destroy it. Not bad at all, definitely, again, great extension, but not so broken that any of these cards could actually be hit. Interestingly, they also confirm a reprint of Psychic Welida, so that's definitely fantastic of course, because this is obviously a Psychic deck, but adding this card in to allow you to potentially go for a rank 3 play or maybe a level 6 synchro play is quite interesting indeed. But with that being said, I do like this archetype. It's so simple. Each of these effects, none of them are broken whatsoever, so they're not going to stand out in such a way where it would cause one of these cards to get banned. I highly doubt that. But at the same time, I think that collectively, all of these cards could definitely make up for a very powerful archetype if one is actually big-brained enough to perform some really extensive combos with these, and they know the timing of each of these effects and when to effectively use them. But that's just my thoughts on this. If you guys have your own thoughts, definitely leave it in the comments down below. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification as well. It really does help. However, with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll see you all next time.